Another episode here of Getting There with Goz, talking about the career journeys of upstate New York coaches, athletes, business owners, media members, and more. For our upstate New York fans of Syracuse, we've got Joseph Girard III joining us, JG3. JG3, let's do this to start off. You're the pride of Glens Falls, and some people may not know a lot about your hometown. Take us to a younger version of you. JG3, growing up in Glens Falls. What's Glens Falls like, and what was it like growing up in that area?
First off, thanks for having me. Second, Glens Falls was everything to me. Me and my friends, my family, especially being a Girard here. I know that, many people just think of, how there's so many of us. It's a really big family, and I just felt like it was just so tight-knit. And even beyond people who didn't have the same last name as me, we were all so close, all had a really good time. And it was just something that I felt like everybody was supporting everybody. And that you could really get along with everyone. So it was a really fun time growing up here. And, there's a lot of magic that was made throughout, all of our middle school and high school careers.
Your dad could ball a little bit back in his day, no doubt. When did you start to realize, okay, I might be pretty good at this basketball thing?
It was just kind of something always I did. But I think the first time that I realized, that I kind of wanted to do something with it was after the 5th grade elk swoop shoot competition, I won the national championship and then, got my name in the Hall of Fame. And then again in 8th grade after, I played I moved up to varsity in 8th grade, had my first game and had 31 points and hit the game-winning 3 at the buzzer. And then got my first Division I offer the next day. Was when I really realized that, I want to take it really, pretty serious and try and do something with it. And, just kept working from there.
Yeah, that 8th grade game, especially people out here in the capital region. Who's this middle schooler who's putting up 30 plus and getting the D1 looks? That's when most people that started to spread across the capital region that Joseph Girard III had officially arrived and he was on the map. So not only just basketball, though, two-sport athlete, football. Take us back to the days on the gridiron, man, because I feel like the first time you and I talked, this was back at CBS 6 when you guys won the state championship. Yep. When did all of a sudden you quarterback in a team like, this is also something I'm excelling at?
Yeah, it was just another thing as well that I always just did. And like you said, I grew up here. Like I was saying, I grew up in Glens Falls and, had all my family and friends around me. And I think just the two main things there's three. The three main things we always did was either pick up basketball on a mini hoop, backyard football, or wiffle ball in the backyard. So, and the football thing, it kind of, obviously, I had a few Division I offers to go play at some places, but it never really was, as serious or as main thing as basketball was. I never really worked out in football as much as I did in basketball. The 3 to 4 months that football season was going on, I was all football, didn't touch basketball or anything like that. But I never really, in the off season, really did anything football camps or anything kind of like that. But it was just something that kind of came natural, and I kind of give all the credit to it from the backyard football. We would play what we called kill the carrier. It would be like 1 on 11, you're running around having 11 guys chase you, try and tackle you. And I think that was kind of like my MO in football was, running around trying to make a play and throw it 60, 50 yards down the field after making a broken play. So football was really fun. I definitely miss it. I try and go all the games here at Syracuse when we're allowed to. But that was just something that kind of was brought into the family as well, and I just really enjoyed it. And, I definitely loved it almost as much as I love basketball.
The state championship runs as well, and run pun intended there, because you had some runs inside the Carrier Dome as a football player that are very memorable here. Is there one in particular that stands out to you that you could take us through, especially in that state title game, that first one?
Yeah, I think like you said, 2016, my sophomore year, I think everybody talks about it still. I think it was even on SportsCenter or something crazy. I originally ran the whole way, the length of the field to the left. Saw there was nothing, so I started running back to the right side, and I hear all my coaches screaming and yelling, like, just go down, all that kind of stuff. And I was already digging myself too deep of a hole. I'm probably 10, 15 yards behind the line already. And I looked to go back left again, didn't go back, and then juked back right, and ran up the sideline, saw a crease, had good blocks by a lot of our receivers, actually. It was funny. I watched the play on Twitter the other day, actually. Someone had sent it to me again, but there's actually a lot of good blocks on that sideline that the receivers had made, and then I just had 2 guys to beat at the end. And, it was pretty much the rest is history, and scored a touchdown on probably ran over 150 yards just to run about 80.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Those views are going to keep adding up over years, man. And you're going to continue to look back and say, what a remarkable play that was for my teammates and helping them put them in that spot to go on and win that championship. Let's flip it back to the hardwood, though. You start looking at the scoring list, not just here in Section 2, but across New York State. Was there ever a goal to hit a certain number? Because you had to at least be aware of, okay, I'm putting up a lot of points and I'm really young. When did that scoring list kind of come on your radar? Like, yo, I got a chance to move up this list.
Honestly, I never really thought about it. You know, people might say that I'm lying, but I honestly never really had too much of a thought into it. I just, you know, in Glens Falls, we averaged about 89, 90 points a game. 48, 50 of them came from me, but we also had like 40 other points getting scored from, you know, the rest of the team. We shot a lot of threes, ran up and down a lot, liked to pretty much run and gun, and it just fit into my style of play basically, you know, perfectly. So I never really thought, you know, I need to score this much this game, but it was more so I got to score more than the other team just for us, you know, sometimes to win. So it was always fun. You know, I never thought about the records. It was just something about, you know, doing what I had to do so we could win as many games as we could.
Even though you weren't thinking about it, was Jimmer Fredette in your ear saying, all right, you're X amount of points away from it? What's the relationship like for those who don't know about your fellow Glens Falls alumni, Jimmer Fredette, and if he was ever in your ear about some type of points per game and point career records and things like that?
Yeah, he's never really talked about it. He's always been a great mentor to me. You know, I work out with him whenever he's back home here in the summers. You know, he'll text me still. I remember he texted me throughout last year. It was all tough times, and then again during the March Madness tournament when we were having a good run. And so he's been a really good mentor to me. You know, probably someone that, you know, a lot of people have idolized and is a perfect, you know, example of how to play the game and how to do it the right way. I do remember though, 8th, 9th grade, his dad and his brother had come up to me one time saying how they tell Jimmer all the time I'm going to smash his records, but I never really talked to Jimmer about it. I just, you know, pretty much learned a lot from him and pick his brain here and there on what it's like to be, you know, a pro.
Before we close your time at Glens Falls, we have to end it on what so many athletes, no matter what sport they play, would dream about how it ended for you. Yeah. Take us through the final minute, the final shot in your career. You can't even draw this up, JG3. It's insane. For those who don't remember, take us through those final moments.
Yeah, it was crazy. The state championship game, you know, we're playing in, I think it was in Binghamton that year. The previous possession in the regulation, the final regulation, we had, you know, about 10 seconds, 15 seconds left. We were down 3. Nobody really ever talks about this shot. I hit a 3 about 5-10 feet behind the line to tie it, to send it into overtime. And then, you know, we're in overtime, and the rest was kind of like a movie. I somehow got into foul trouble. I was out of the game, and the other teams got the ball. They're up, I think, 1 point at this time, and they have the ball. And one of our players in a timeout had said, because I'm out of the game because we're trying to foul now. So I already got 4 fouls. I'll foul out if I foul again. But one of our players in the huddle said, you know, watch out for whatever number it was, 12. He's been pushing off a lot on his screens. So our guy goes out there and we're ready for it. And what do you know? The kid pushes off on his screen. Our guy falls to the ground. The refs call a foul on him. It's an offensive foul. So we get the ball back. But since there was no time off the clock, I still wasn't allowed back in the game. So coach had asked, you know, what should we run? And I just said, you know, run one play. It was a screen across for our big man. He was 6'6". He had a big, you know, height advantage over the other guys. And so we run the play. What do you know? We throw it in. The ball gets tipped and goes out of bounds. It's still our ball. So I'm allowed, since there's time that came off the clock, I'm allowed to go back into the game. And then the rest was history. You know, I just went in there, Trey made a good pass, and, you know, just had to make a layup to win. And, you know, that was that.
An amazing moment. Will go down for sure in the lore, the legend of Capital Region shots of all time. So Glens Falls is great. The high school overall career, you can't ask for much more. Let's go to the recruiting process. You mentioned early on you were getting offers as soon as the 8th grade. Did you enjoy the recruiting process? Was it stressful? What was that whole process like for years, eventually leading to your decision to commit to Syracuse?
Yeah, I mean, I actually had a lot of fun with the recruiting process. People say it can be stressful. I think towards the end it was a little stressful, but throughout the whole thing, I had a lot of fun with it. You know, I was, you know, for me, I was getting recruited for 2 sports for a while, and then obviously when I dwindled it down just to basketball, it I guess got less stressful because, you know, I was just doing 1 sport. But anyway, it was really fun, you know, having guys like Coach Boeheim and GMAC come into my house, Coach Beeline come into my house, Coach K and Coach Shire. the whole Penn State staff and all those guys coming. I literally sat in this living room that I'm sitting in right now, had dinner with me and all that kind of stuff. So just to meet those kind of people, I think was the biggest thing for me. I'd always watched college basketball and seen these guys all on TV all the time, but then to actually interact with them, have them text me, call me every day, sit here in my house with me, have me go on visits there, see what their campus and what's all about. It was a really cool experience, and I think for me, obviously it was cool, but even for my mom and dad, they really enjoyed the whole process. And I remember my dad had played for Coach Beeline at Lemoyne, but he had never experienced it, when Coach Beeline was Coach Beeline. And, all these guys have gotten to that point. So I think it was really cool for me and just my family in general. I had a lot of fun with it, to be honest with you.
Was there a moment, was there a day where you decided, you know what, this is Syracuse, this is where I'm committing? How close was it to the day you actually committed that you knew this was the moment that you were going to become an Orange for life?
Yeah, I'd say it went up to literally the last week, few days, because I was playing football at the time. So I was in my senior year, and, we were just entering the state playoffs, or the playoffs. And, my family was smart. We were like, all right, we should probably get this out of the way just so I can focus on the rest of the playoffs for football, try and get a state championship, my last time in playing football ever. And then obviously I wanted to be done for basketball season. But, yeah, so I'd say, the time I really understood that I really wanted to go to Syracuse, I had obviously, been leaning towards it a little bit. I had a really good relationship with Coach Boeheim and GMAC. I played AAU with Buddy for many, many years. My dad actually became like friends with Coach Boeheim, and my mom had become friends with Mrs. Boeheim. So it was more of like a comfortable thing than it was recruiting. But, Coach Boeheim and GMAC had came to a football game, a football practice, another football practice, and then just met with me at the school like 3-4 weeks in a row. And that's when I was really like, all right, these guys are, really putting on the heat and all that kind of stuff. And really, I appreciated what they were doing for me. And that's kind of why I was like, all right, these guys are really taking a liking into what I'm doing and really want me there. So, I wanted to be there as well. Don't get me wrong. But that's when I realized that, they were the ones for me.
So what happens? You sign Division I basketball scholarship. You're going west to play in Syracuse towards Central New York. Let's go to the first practice. I love asking athletes about this when they make that transition from high school to college. Even though you've had all these accolades in high school, take us through the first college basketball Division I practice. What was that transition like for you? And did you ever, whether it be practice or even in a game, the welcome to D1 basketball moment for you?
I think actually it came a lot sooner for me than a lot of other kids, because my freshman year we went to Italy as our summer tour. So when you go on a summer tour, it's once every 4 years for high major programs, and that just happened to be my freshman year. It had when you're taking that trip, you're allowed 10 extra practices in the summer than other teams are getting. So ours was earlier, obviously, and they were real practices. So I don't even know if there was really like one specific welcome to college thing. It was more of like, all right, this is a job. Because don't get me wrong, I was working really hard in high school, going to the gym after and before practices, on my own on the weekends, kind of that kind of stuff. But when you're in college, you're really in the gym, in the weight room, all that kind of stuff, film, meetings, all that kind of stuff for literally 10 to 12 hours a day. Like, I think the biggest thing for me was I would wake up sometimes in the summer at 6 a.m., which I had never done before, and not get home till literally 6 at night, 5 at night. Just because I was in the gym, I was going to summer school classes, I was taking tutors, study halls, workouts, meetings, training, all that kind of stuff, and recovery. And it took literally your whole day up. So I think that was basically the welcome thing to me, is like, yeah, I've worked hard really a long time before, but this is a whole new dimension of, working hard and, getting acclimated to having a job. Yeah,
no doubt. And you have that transition from being a senior in high school to being a freshman in college. And I think some people don't have this perspective. There's a transition from you being a freshman in college to a sophomore, because now you're kind of learning about all these things and the job, as you called it. What do you think was the biggest growth for you as an athlete, and maybe even as a person, from your first year as an athlete to now your second year as a Syracuse Orange basketball player?
Yeah, and like you said, I went from senior year. I graduated June 29th in high school, and June 30th I was on campus taking summer classes. So I didn't really have a little break to like analyze that, okay, I'm going to college now. But, from freshman to sophomore year, you've taken it all in. You know what to expect. Obviously, it was different for us because of the whole COVID thing going on. So I still didn't really get a real kind of college experience of, a whole summer, because like I said, my freshman year, we went to Italy, last year we weren't allowed to be there in the summer because COVID, and now this year was really my first summer. But going into sophomore year, I just kind of knew what to expect with the coaches, what it takes to preparation, and all that kind of stuff. But I think it was different for everybody, honestly, because like I said, COVID hurt a lot of things, and we weren't allowed to do a lot of the same things that we did even my freshman year. So, but just expectation wise and like preparation wise, I was definitely a whole step ahead of what I was freshman year.
You can be as open as you want, or you can be like, guys, I don't want to talk about this, but how are you feeling? Because you mentioned COVID.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, you had an experience with it, if I'm not mistaken. You could talk about this or you don't want to talk about it. It's your health, it's your life. But how are you feeling? I guess I'll leave it open-ended for you.
Right now, I'm totally good.
Okay.
I would say that, I did have COVID. I have asthma, so it hurt a little bit. It took a little bit longer to get back into, basketball shape. People think that, you could just be in shape and go play any sport, but there's a lot of different shapes you need. Like from football, you could be in a certain shape for football and be totally fine. You're taking breaks after each play. But in basketball, you're running up and down the whole time and need to be in a different kind of shape. So it took a little bit to get back into basketball shape, I'd say, from COVID, because I had to be out for however long it was. Then I had to get reacclimated with my breathing from asthma. And I think the biggest thing for me, I wasn't really sick. I was totally fine with that kind of stuff. It was just I was tired all the time. Back then I was telling people how I could literally walk to the gym and then get back to my bed and sit right down and fall asleep wherever I was, it seemed. So I think right now I'm totally good though, but it did take a little bit to get back into the routine.
I'm happy to hear that, man. I'm happy to hear all things are well and things are feeling good. You mentioned about practice and prepping for a season. We're taping this in August of 2021, so we're not as close to the season as some Syracuse basketball fans are hoping, as they always look forward to rooting on the Orange inside the Carrier Dome. What does the rest of the summer and fall look like for you? When are you heading back to campus? When you get to start working out with your teammates again?
So I actually had been in Syracuse from June all the way till like 2-3 days ago, 3-4 days ago, not really. So what we do is went to summer session 1 and summer session 2. You take summer classes during that so that, it helps the burden of classes during, the season. So you get some of those out of the way. And also during that time, you're allowed a certain amount of hours per day and then a certain amount of weeks where you're allowed to work out with the coaches and practice with the team. So we got all those done. But we had been doing that like I said, all the way through June and July and a little bit in August. And they gave us the rest of the time off until actual school starts back up in a week and a half, 2 weeks now, to go back there. And then we'll be hitting workouts again. And I think at the end of September is when actual practices start. So we're getting ready for that. But, obviously everybody's, home right now. They're still working out in their own kind of gyms and doing their own thing. But team-wise, we'll be back pretty soon working out again.
It's a busy summer, no doubt, for everything that's happening with your teammates, happening with you, prepping for a season. It's also been a exciting summer because the NCAA has changed some things involving name, image, likeness. For you, I think you, along with your teammates, have had smiles on your faces because the world is changing. Kind of take us through, for those who don't know, some of the things that have been happening in your life as now a college athlete who can benefit from some of these things, and how Syracuse University has prepped you guys for it.
Yeah, it's been awesome so far. July 1st, when it first came out, and I think about a week before that, when our compliance had like a meeting with us, had told us what they think is going to happen. Honestly, they didn't even know it was going to happen because nobody really did. But they had told us what they expected to happen, and then gave us a lot of guidelines and a lot of rules that, we had to follow. Obviously, we're not going to memorize them all. We're not going to know them. And I don't even think anybody really knows all the rules right now because, it's still changing as we see to this day. But the biggest thing is, I think, it's good for the NCAA. It's obviously good for the players, but I just think it's good as a whole. There's not many rules that you have to know because everything that you do pretty much has to go through compliance right now. So if you get offered with car dealership, let's just say, you send it into compliance, they read over the stuff, they see what you can and can't do, and then from there they take care of it. So a lot of people are around you to help you figure it out, but obviously it's good to obviously, like I said, it's a job, so you're basically making money for, your job now.
Well, if you're looking for JG3 themed gear, right here on our visual side, we've got the link right here on the podcast side. So if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, head over to YouTube. We've got the link both in the ticker below and also in our comment section. And this Saturday, August 21st, we've got the JG3 Shooting Stars camp. Now, when I think about these camps, I want to tell you about it, but first I'm thinking about this like moment Michael Jordan's had it before at his camps, Chris Paul. JG3, I feel like a young kid's going to challenge you to like a free throw shooting competition or something. You're going to step up. Are you ready for a challenge for maybe a young Glens Falls kid out there or what?
Hey, I've been thinking about it, and I think you're probably right. It's probably bound to happen, and yeah, I'm ready for it. We'll see how it goes. Should be a good time. I'm looking forward to meeting all those kids and working with them. But yeah, I've seen just as many videos as you probably have about people challenging the campus challenging the counselors, as I'd say. But yeah, it's going to be pretty fun, and I'm really looking forward to it.
JG3 Shooting Stars.com. Limited space still available. Head to the website now to get your spot. What are you hoping? Are you going to be coaching? Are you going to be playing? Kind of take us through what people can expect about this camp coming up this weekend.
We're still making it all happen. I'll probably be doing a little bit of both, to be honest with you. I'm just going to show them a lot of the things that I did growing up and see where it leads to. Obviously, I did a lot of these drills as a kid, so my dad did them with me. I'm going to have him there with me as well. And a few of my coaches and cousins from high school that, have been there with me and done a lot of these things before too. So I'm going to try and show these kids, what it takes to work hard and just give them some basic things to, help their game grow and take it to the next level.
How many free throws in a row can you hit at camp on Saturday? That's what I want to know. Like, honestly, you probably have a number in your mind. What is the record, JG3, most free throws in a row?
It's going to sound crazy, but I do remember back when I was, I think it was right before high school when I was doing the competition. Me and my dad were in the gym, and we'd see how many I could do in a row. And I think I got to a little bit over 150, if I remember correctly. Yeah,
what?
I don't know about on Saturday when everybody's watching, but my dad was there to back me up. I could even be mistaken. I think it might have been over 200. I think I did it twice, 2 different separate times. One time was over 200, one time was over 150. But on Saturday, I'm not sure, to be honest with you, how that'll go. But I do have witnesses there.
Over 200? Oh, we'll get some TV guys out there to film you next time. We're going to hit over 200.
We need to get the school cameras.
You can hit more than Buddy at the line, right? I'm sure you and Buddy must have had a free throw competition at some point, knowing each other for so many years.
We've never gone free throw for free throw. We do 3-point competitions literally every day at Syracuse. I win some, he wins some, GMAC wins some, but it's always fun competing with those guys as they're all good shooters. So
GMAC is still competitive as always. Back from his days, he's not letting up.
Oh my God, you can't take it out of him. I mean, the guy still plays pickup with the managers, and you think he's playing against Kansas in the national championship in 2003.
He's talking smack?
He's doing it all. He's talking smack, calling fouls, pulling up from deep, making sure that his team's always getting the advantage. So he's the same old GMAC.
The pride of Scranton, even though the office is popular now with the Gen Zers, the real pride of Scranton is Jerry McNamara, my favorite athlete, who's you can watch here on our YouTube side. I used the wrong hand there. There's my guy, G-Mac, man. Goals for the season. For your teammates, for you, what are you hoping for Syracuse basketball for this upcoming year?
I think we got a lot of momentum from last year, obviously making the Sweet 16. We do have some new players, lost some key players, but we're really looking forward to what we can do this year. We've been working very hard, like I said, in the summer, and we got a lot of good pieces. Obviously, we want to finish, if not first, in the top half of the ACC this year, make the tournament again, and just make another run. I think that's what Syracuse is best known for. Coach Bam is best known for is always find a way to get into the tournament, and when he's there, he makes some magic happen. So we're always ready for that. I think we just want to, probably improve a little bit on, our regular season, the way we do that, the way we finish that out, for my freshman and sophomore year. But postseason, I know we'll be ready just by the way we prepare and get ready each and every season. But for the regular season, I think that's the biggest thing for us is we just want to improve. And then just be a better leader, have a good attitude, be ready at all times, and just have a positive mind and be ready to go at all games and all moments.
On this podcast, media members, coaches, athletes, business owners, I hope Getting There With Goz is about that journey. And especially at the end of the journey, you want to give advice to somebody who wants to be where you are in your career. So whether it's a young kid at Glens Falls who's listening to this, maybe you're going to be offering this advice for some campers this weekend. Joseph Girard III, for the young kids out there, the best advice that if someone wants to be where you are in your career right now, what's the best advice you can offer them?
I think my motto, which is, be different. I think that's the biggest thing I could say. And sometimes people ask what it means. And, for me personally, being a top recruiter, whatever they want to call me, playing in the UIBL, all that kind of stuff. A lot of my friends and teammates had gone over and played, prep school, gone to these, skills things and all that kind of stuff. But me personally, I just wanted to be different. I want to stay home in my hometown, play here, with all my family and friends that I had, started off with. I didn't want to leave them hanging. And I think that was a big step for me in realizing that, there's a lot of different ways you can get to where you want to go. You don't have to do the same thing everybody else, and just pretty much create your own path, make a different way to do it. And I guess not always follow the leader, and, do something on your own. Obviously you got to work hard for it. But you don't need to do the same thing everybody else does.
No doubt, man. For more information, if you want to be a part of the camp this upcoming weekend, check out the website, JG3 Shooting Stars Camp.com. If you didn't write that down, head over to our YouTube side. See the ticker at the bottom along with the gear, man. Get your JG3 gear in the Carrier Dome. He'll be probably giving you guys a nice salute and a shout out if you're rocking some new gear this upcoming weekend. This all summer long, all fall long. Joseph Girard III, we're rooting for you here in the Capital Region. Best of luck this season, man. We appreciate you spending some time with us.
Thanks, my man. Appreciate you having me, and can't wait to see you all pretty soon.